Let's try that one. Good morning. My name is Nancy Scanlon. I represent the NGO United Religions Initiative and Florida International University in Miami, Florida. 18,000 years ago, in the southern part of what we now know as North America, the sea parted and the peninsula of sand and porous limestone rose up around a sea of grass that we now call the Everglades. Protected from encroaching waters by seagrasses and tree roots. Leftover prehistoric alligators and birds of such beauty shared this space in a balance of nature. "2,000 years ago, the Native American Indian tribe, the Tequestras, created a ceremonial monument, one of the few existing prehistoric foundation structures in North America, now known as the Miami Circle, at the mouth of the river giving out onto the Biscay Bay, now known as Biscayne. The remains of this valuable prehistoric monument now are surrounded by the monuments of modern Miami. 500 years ago, the Europeans came searching for gold and found instead freshwater fish and a lush tropical climate. Man's alchemaic dream of turning stone into gold was realized in the 20th century as Miami's investors turned climate and a little limestone into gold, real estate, gold that is now in 2015 being mined at a furious pace before the rising ocean waters. Below the ocean waters and sea level, video to the sea, closer and closer to the sea. Mining sand, limestone, gold, ever increasing in value. In downtown Miami, investors are scrambling for air rights, a sky of cranes. Video. Faster and faster, higher and higher, on less and less. To build to the water's edge where nature can no longer protect it. From canoes for 6 to cruise ships for 6,000, the Miami River Harbor will welcome 7 million cruise ship passengers in 2020. Cries for better access for both cargo and cruise ships have resulted in dredging efforts to create a deeper harbor. The most southeastern shipping port in the United States competes for cargo ships coming through the newly widened and deepened Panama Canal. Wider and wider, deeper and deeper. On the western coast of Greater Miami is the Everglades. The river of grass that holds back the water of Miami's western shore grows weak at the roots. Fresh water turns brackish by encroaching salt water as Florida Bay to the south creeps northward. In its wake, marine life adapts, dies, or flees. A fitting example for the 22.4 million people that populate the 2,431 square miles known as Miami-Dade County, Greater Miami. And the water rises. These sea level projection maps show the loss of land in Greater Miami from its present sea level. If we watch on the left, 1 foot, on the right, 2 feet. On the left, Loss of land at 3 feet and 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet. 72% of the land remains at 2 feet, but 3 feet. Then 4 feet, 62%. 5 feet. 6 feet. This is 2 feet above sea level. 7 feet. And at last, 8 feet. And with a bird's eye view of South Florida, the white is the limestone. Watch it go. This is a 6-foot rise. U.S. government projections in the area for sea level rise are from 4.1 feet to 6.6 feet by 2100. Miami, #1 city in the world at risk for asset loss by sea level rise. Miami, #8 city in the world at loss for population migration. The greater risk is not for the greater good. Disaster is on the doorstep, and who is most at risk? Not the investors who pour money into real estate for short-term profits, and not the politicians who bend to their will for increased tax revenue. Behind aerial photographs of the city of Miami's tall downtown buildings is the real Miami. Single and multi-family buildings, 1 and 2 stories high for the most part. Households of middle and lower income families and individuals. The insurance industry is paying attention. Insurance rates on homes in these areas is steadily increasing. On the sea level rise curve, there is a point of limited or no financial return. At some point, both real estate value drops and the infrastructure fails, impacting the population. Population disruption, economic disruption. The graph shows that sea level rise in Miami is currently 20 centimeters. At 50 centimeters, sewer systems will begin to fail, and there will be a loss of fresh water as salt water fills the Biscayne Aquifer, a major underground source of fresh water for Greater Miami. The economy will become disrupted as business and individuals experience soaring insurance rates or lack of, and loss of mortgage lenders. State and local governments will experience the loss of taxable properties and funding. Adaptation, mitigation, resilience. This is who is at risk. Whoops, okay. There are good people in the Greater Miami area, in the general population, the business community, the educational institutions, and local government who are working to bring about public awareness and the political will to mitigate and adapt to the impacts of severe weather and sea level rise. In the city of Miami Beach, one of the most visible of these efforts in adaptation is the installation of pumping stations. The Miami Beach Barrier Island is one of the most at-risk areas for flooding and storm surge in the continental U.S. 1+ mile wide, 19 miles square, 7 miles of beach shoreline, 90,000 permanent residents. 45% of visitors to Greater Miami stay in Miami Beach and spend $11 billion a year. 60 new pumping stations and backflow preventers to mitigate flooding are being installed to maintain transportation connectivity and protect residential and commercial property. It will help to secure Miami Beach for a while and its experience. Seawall upgrades for Miami Beach and the canals that make up the waterway systems will incorporate natural solutions for storm surge. The natural environment to this island once a mangrove swamp. But the sea cannot hold back forever. Unlike the Netherlands, New York City, and other locations facing these same challenges, Miami lacks the last defense. The geological base is limestone, a porous rock that absorbs seawater, which is even now infiltrating the underground freshwater aquifers. Seawater will rise up from below as well as from the side, and there is no feasible long-term way to prevent it from doing so. For their short-term return on investment, the investment community will be gone, leaving behind a people of limited resources to grapple with the disaster, unable to meet the demands of banks for insurance on their mortgages, overflowing sewers, lack of fresh water and food, the onset of vector and waterborne diseases. Are we planning for the movement of sizable population groups to communities elsewhere in the U.S. that can absorb them? Are we planning for financial assistance for those forced to abandon their homes as the escalating cost of home insurance becomes higher than mortgages and ability to pay? Are we planning for the outbreaks of malaria, cholera, and the other vector and waterborne diseases that will accompany the flooding of wastewater sites as they too succumb? The water will not recede, and those left behind will need to adapt. Those that leave will need to take up new lives. There will be no return. There is a message to those in the investment community and the government who have chosen the profit above people strategy with a short-sighted view of Greater Miami and its people. Saltwater beats politics. Thank you.
So congratulations, that was stupendous, a real tour de force.
Thank you.
I was struck, I wasn't planning to come here, and I just was really caught by your presentation. The obvious question is, so what are city planners doing? And obviously the mayor of Miami, the people who are responsible for the risk that it's storing up. So something
That's
about that,
a very
please.
good question. At the moment, as I said, there are very good people in Miami. There are people who care. I work with them on a daily basis. But there are others who prefer to overlook the situation. And when I ask, there at the moment is no concerted effort to answer my 3 questions. Is that? Okay. It is disappointing. Make a lot of noise. I believe they are. Okay, thank you. Questions? Anyone? I'd like to thank the science community of Greater Miami at the University of Miami and Florida International University. That is the source of these slides. Okay, so thank you all.